There we go. We are in the moment.
We certainly are.
And we decided to just go with the flow and start with what we're dealing with, and kind of like just allowing ourselves to deal with it.
Yeah.
And not be perfect. We're not going to be perfect today. Yeah.
And talking of not being perfect, the internet is intermittent, so it may come and go. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. It's British internet.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have the sun coming and going, and that's just gonna be okay. Yeah, I just got that it's just nicer. I don't know. It's nicer to be yourself. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I just try so hard to kind of have it all together, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that really comes across really great. I guess it depends what you're talking about.
Yeah, it can come across as really false. Sometimes if you're too professional or trying too hard to be professional, it just comes across as inauthentic.
Yeah.
Which is certainly not your style.
It's funny because one of the things I'm dealing with right now is self-confidence. The thing is I'm judging myself for not having enough confidence. So like I want to be more confident, but here I'm kind of saying like, I don't know if I actually want to be more confident.
Shalavi, if you can walk around with hair like you've got there, you have got the confidence you need, my darling. You look beautiful and stunning, and there is no way I'd be brave enough to wear that kind of hair, my hair that way, if it was even possible for my hair to be like that.
But thank you. It's be present. You just said that, yeah, my hair symbolizes confidence. Yeah. I have a friend who just told me like you kind of fake it till you make it. Like I think there's a constant comparing myself to what I'm not yet.
And I think there's a cost to faking it too much before you make it, which is something I tried to do many years ago and pay the consequences when I had a complete nervous breakdown. And I think a lot of that was some of it was due to the stress that I was under, but a lot of it was due to me trying to be like this perfect swan and everything was always wonderful, darling. But underneath, I was scrabbling so hard to try and keep still in the water. It's like everything in life it's about balance.
Oh, it is. It just dawned on me, like, yeah, it's just funny how we kind of, I feel sometimes like I feel like a goldfish, kind of like I knew it, and why don't I remember that?
Because you're not aware you're swimming in the water.
Like we all know the balance is important, but like you messaged me, you're like, not having a great time recently, and I'm like, yeah, me neither. Let's talk about it. I feel like when I'm not doing great, I just forget that reality could be different.
Yes.
Like it really, and I don't know if it's because I had real depression last year. Like I have like this story that because I had real depression, now it's probably prone to come more. But then I'm like, well, maybe I'm just getting to know myself more. And I just get to know the experience of having just dealing with something. Every time I deal with something, it's like a goldfish. I forget that life is different when I'm not into something. It's just suddenly everything is that something. And I judge myself for experiencing that something, I guess.
I think unless you've had something, there's no way you can empathize with anybody else. I've known people that have had just such perfect seeming lives, and they're vacuous. There's nothing to them. There's the conversation is so limited because they haven't got any idea of what other people go through. I think every experience can be a rich experience, and it can help you relate to other people more. I think both you and I are in the world of communications and trying to relate with people. So I think it's important that we've had experiences of different states of being.
Yeah. So you help people. I guess like now we're going to do the introductions. kind of give a background of like, we're human. And it's funny
Mhm.
because we both, we're both very passionate about helping people. And we're just like, oh, right. Well, for me, it's just like, oh, right. I don't have to be a robot to help humans. I got to be a human too.
Yeah. Actually, I was somebody who's my hero is Matt Kahn. He's an internet spiritualist type guy. I first came across him a couple of years ago, and I wasn't quite sure how sincere he was. And then over the last couple of years, I've gradually seen more YouTube videos about him, and I've now just got his new book, The Universe Always Has a Plan. Ta-da! And I saw him interviewed last week, and just like I was saying, he's always come across as being sort of perfect, but he was actually saying no, he had a really tough childhood. He's had all sorts of depression, being bullied, etc. And I've warmed to him so much more than I have done when I've seen pictures of him being Mr. Perfect and Mr. I've got it all together. I think being authentic and being real and in the moment is important for people to connect with us.
Yeah. I don't have anything smart to say. I want to. Can you just? So since
So I'm
like, I
smart
want to
enough for
say
both of
something
us, honey.
smart. I'm like, no.
I wish.
What? Well, I just if you could just tell all my friends a little bit about yourself, and what you are passionate about.
Right. Gosh. A little bit about myself. I've been helping friends pretty much all my life. Well, all my adult life. I'm not sure I had that many friends as a child. School was not a happy time for me, and childhood was pretty much not that happy a time for me. But now I have fantastic friends and value them so much, and they say I help them. I had a career for about 15 years of being a masseuse, and then I got into life coaching and was starting to build up business coaching. I had home educated my daughter for 8 years, and was in the process of building up a website in 2004. So there was no kind of cut and paste websites then. It was hard work, writing a book, and really feeling like I was going to make it this time. And then I crashed and burned and had a full breakdown and really serious depression for quite some number of years.
Wow.
And I'm just starting to kind of rebuild myself, rebuild my life.
How did you hang in there?
And coaching and sorry.
How did you? I'm sorry for cutting. How did you hang in there? I know it's a huge question.
By my fingernails most of the time. Literally by my fingernails most of the time. I had a daughter who was, well, she was about 13 when I had my breakdown. And it was like, if I let go completely, I wouldn't have been able to look after her because I was a single parent then. And there was just no way I could not look after her. So she kind of helped keep me enough on the level to survive. So I used to get her to school and then collapse and just spend the day under my duvet, and then manage to drag myself up to get her back home and feed her. But wow. it was hard. It was, yeah.
People always
and
ask
giving
me,
myself permission to.
I'm just gonna move to a place where maybe
People always ask you.
Yeah. Oh, people always ask me like, about my recovery, like, what was the turning point? Like, when did I start recovering? it's funny. I'm like feeling like like for me, my answer is like it wasn't just like a little change in the road. It was like very gradual. I'm just finding myself kind
Yeah.
of wanting to like ask you the same question, like how did you start climbing out?
Very much the same. There was no point where I thought, oh, I've recovered. It was just gradually, so gradually, I ventured out more. I, I, I went through a stage of wearing really drab clothes if I did go out, because I really didn't want to be noticed. I would do anything to just kind of stay in the background and not have anyone talk to me. And then a friend said, look, come on, come out. You need to start going out into the world. And she helped me go out for the first time in years, just going out as me and not as mum or housewife or whatever. And I think that was the start of my recovery, just having a friend who had the courage and the determination to say, look, you're coming out whether you like it or not, sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah.
All friends out there, listen up.
Long haul. Yeah. We need you. Whenever we're down, we need you. And sometimes we need you to have the common sense and be wise enough to know that when we say, no, we can't do it, we really mean it. But when there's that time where you might be able to do it, but you just haven't got the courage, that's when we need friends to say, oi, get your coat, you're coming out.
Wow.
So yeah, they're really important.
Gosh, going out, it makes such a difference. It's just so hard now with COVID. I mean, okay, like in Israel, where I'm at now, it's apocalyptic. People are out. I was at a party in Tel Aviv, no masks. You just have your passport. But it's you're in the UK, and you can't just go out. I guess you could just go out for a walk. I think anything that's just out can make a difference. Yeah.
Well, up until recently, you weren't even supposed to go out for a walk with anybody else unless they were in your bubble. But we're now allowed to be outside with up to 6 people. Woo! And as from Monday, non-essential shops are reopening. So I'm going to go out for a coffee with a friend on Friday, which is,
oh my God.
I haven't done that for so long. I'm not sure I can remember how to order a coffee in a coffee shop. I'm sure I can, but
yeah.
Kind of, oh, what do you do when you go out? How do you talk to people again?
Yeah.
Living alone and being depressed. I'm lucky.
So I cut you off in the middle
This has
of
been going on, and I've got some fantastic. You did. I did notice. It's all right.
No,
it's the internet's not very good either.
Yeah, the internet is like I hear you done, and then I say something, and then I'm like, oh, she's still talking, but I didn't have the audio. Sorry about that. But I did cut you off when you were talking about the depression period, and then you started coming out, and I was like, oh, how did you come out? But you were going to say a little bit more after that. What you're passionate about and
what I'm passionate about. I am passionate about help people not end up in that bad, dark place like I did. And if they do, being a guiding light for them coming back out of it. But and helping people to be honest, like we were saying at the beginning, it's not playing that swan, it's not pretending everything's all right when it isn't. Being able to say, I'm having a really bad day today and I just can't stop crying, and having the courage to reach out and say, can you just sit with me? Sometimes we don't need to fix people, we just need to be there with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear for myself that it's also okay to be the needing side as well. Well, I'm dating someone, and I'm noticing whenever my dating experience becomes significant, like I want to start a family, suddenly I have to become perfect. and I'm like, I'm dealing with something. Okay, I'm gonna fix it because I don't want you to see me doing unwell. um, and I'm just I'm just wondering how attractive that is, and not for desire to be attractive, but like, like how nice it is to be with a real human that could say, "Hey, I'm weak." Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny how I keep on falling into that pit of like, if I want to be liked, I have to be perfect. Womp womp.
Well, yeah, I mean, I so understand why you think that, but I think actually the opposite is true. That if we are too perfect, people are afraid to come near us. We're like some kind of China dolls that people are afraid, lovely to look at, but too delicate to touch and to live real life with.
Yeah,
And by being vulnerable, by being honest about our vulnerability, it gives other people permission to be the same. So there's your dating partner thinking they've got to be perfect because you're always perfect. So if they have a
mm,
bad day, they can't feel that they can show up with you.
yeah, and also by me not being perfect, I'm allowing them to help me.
Yeah.
And creating a
But
bond.
again, there's a balance, because if you're all falling apart, then there's no fun in that for anyone either. But if you can be honest when you're having a bad day, and sometimes that's all you need to do is say, look, I'm having a really rough day today. Can we
Yeah,
just, I don't know, go for a gentle walk? And then when you go for a gentle walk, you find something funny and you end up coming back into full balance.
yeah. Ah, so how are you doing today?
A lot better than I was yesterday. Yesterday, I don't know what happened. I just woke up and I didn't want to speak to anybody. I'm so glad we didn't have the interview booked for yesterday. I just curled up on the settee with blankets around me, a mug of tea, and just looked out the window for, I don't know, a couple of hours. I didn't phone anybody. I didn't think anything. I just had like 2 hours of complete stillness, and that's what I needed then. Come the afternoon, I had a Zoom call and I was okay. But I think if I'd pushed myself to try and do more in the morning, I would have crashed again and wouldn't have had the courage to do the Zoom in the afternoon.
Yeah, gosh.
But so how long have you been dating?
Oh no, I don't
You're
want
not
to
the
tell
only
the world.
question.
It's
Okay, fine, don't then.
okay. It's okay. Well, I'm trying to like, what I notice is just like what's happening with the dating person. I like not specifying if they're male or female. I just really like that. Um, so just like, world, I want you to assume whatever you want to assume about me. Not that people really care.
Yep.
But um um I'm just noticing what's happening whenever there is a person, that I get significant about, that that I get invested in, right? The more invested you are, the more scared you could be. um there's a funny thing that happens to me.
Oh, believe me.
And so, Lori Ann, like, I'm the inferior superior seesaw of like, either I could
Mm,
get really judgmental and decide that that person probably is not deep enough, you know, doesn't get me enough,
mm.
I become the superior self. And then once I overcome that, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, they're better. uh, they're better. And I hope that they like me. um, and the impact is that I'm just stressed, and I'm my constant work is just creating being equal, like speaking in eye level and kind of being like a
Mhm.
buddy. Um, the funny thing is I like to take on a male role, when I so nobody knows. But there's something about like when I'm a dude, I think I'm a little bit less significant. There's a social perceptions that I made up in my head, well, with the social influences, but um yeah, I think when I'm kind of
Mm.
like a dude, I'm just less significant. um I'm just, yeah, I just I just feel more like, um I could just disagree. I don't need to be the good pretty wife, um that agrees, or that wants to be liked, or the mother that knows everything. I guess, as a guy,
Yeah.
you could like play with being a father, being a little kid, but there's just something about being a dude that makes me feel very equal, and I could just be straight. um, it's not that it's always easy, but yeah, I'm working on being equal. Yeah, and it's funny because I'm also working on being confident, but that I think that's just to balance the apologetic self, the um, the wanting to
Yeah.
please, or so just being confident, being a confident dude. I don't. that's that's my what I'm creating right now. Um, to deal with
I
my.
think that for me, I think it's more important. Sorry, go on, I'm cutting across you now. I
I
think it's
finished.
more important to be a confident you rather than a confident. It's not important whether you're being a dude or a girl. It's being confident about being yourself, because we've all got aspects of different types and personalities. It's just being true to yourself.
Yeah,
It's taken me a long while to work that one out.
yeah.
Um,
What are the techniques that you
and
use?
um, oh, that's a question and a half. What are the techniques I use to be myself?
Well, for example, like I started
Um,
just talking about it. I'm like, I was just judgmental, or I just made you better than me, right? So the person told me that I overthink, and I'm like, right, I overthink. I'm like, wait a second. The fact that you said that I overthink doesn't mean that I actually overthink. It just means it's that your opinion. Maybe I like to think. Just, um, so talking about it helps me. That's a technique. Just talking
that,
about what I'm dealing with, for
yeah,
example.
and everyone's dealing with something, aren't they? I mean, it's just a matter of how well we deal with it and how honest we are about things we're dealing with,
Yeah.
and questioning how we are. I think is to a certain point really good. When we're questioning everything about ourselves, and that's not so healthy because we're out of balance again. But realizing that we are all, we come from the same cells, we're made of the same flesh and bone and blood, and we're
Mm.
walking sacks of water, and we're all trying to make the best of life on the planet.
I like walking sacks of water.
Really, there's no one's better than us. When I first started work, which is many years ago now, yeah, I was so shy, so nervous. The whole company went out this really posh dinner. It was like 11 servings. So, what's the word? Courses, 11
Courses.
courses. So
Yeah.
you started with, kind of little courses, that's what. And there was more cutlery and plates and glasses than I'd ever seen in my life. I'd never sat at a table that was long enough, big enough to take knives and forks for 11 courses. I was sat next to the company secretary, and I remember he sort of leaned across to me and very quietly said, "Start from the outside and work in, and follow me," because there was things being produced I'd never seen, let alone eaten. And he said, we were talking about being nervous and about not being confident and about feeling inferior to other people's. And he used these little half glasses, and he put them to the end of his nose. He said, "My dear, remember, even Her Majesty has to drop her drawers to pee." realize, no matter how big you are, there's still things you have to do that every human has to do. And there is nobody that's better than another. We're all just doing our best to be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
That just feels so cozy. Thank you. I think
anytime I start getting stressed, I imagine Her Majesty on the lavatory with all these, amazing dresses that she has to wear, trying to keep her crown on straight while she's doing what she has to do in the bathroom.
Oh God.
It makes me feel a lot more.
Oh, that is so great. I think that's a very beautiful note to send people off with for now, and then we'll have another share. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I really enjoy talking with you.
Thank you. Me too. I'm so excited, and below or above, really wherever this is going to be posted, Facebook or Instagram, is it okay to put in your details?
As much as they are at the moment, yes, it is okay.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm intending to have a website and all that stuff, but I haven't got it yet. So
we'll update that when it comes. You could always edit the info later. So someone next year that would watch it would be like, oh, she already made the website. And probably we'll have more things to share. Oh gosh, I'm just, yeah.
I hope so.
I'm just left with feeling very warm. Thank you. It's really, yeah.
Me too.
too.
It's been lovely talking with you and listening to your birds and seeing the sunshine.
Warm regards from Israel.
You take care.
Thank you.